Hello there, Comic Clan, and welcome to Comics in the Cross, the greatest streamers you have never heard of. I, of course, am always as your host, Cross. And there's ads coming in with that host, making Zemo do his thing. Thank you so much for that ad. I, of course, am your host, Cross, but I am not joined by Nitro today, who is attempting to play Titanic Flute. And I'd hate to break his heart, but I can't hear it.
No, not the Titanic Flute.
Nitro decided to upgrade the stream a little bit and decided to find out how to put sound effects on, which I told him not to do for the podcast because this has to go up like on audio stuff, like for the people like listen to it. So, but apparently it's not playing, so it's actually failed. But of course Nitro is causing all sorts of chaos in chat, but he is not with me today, so I decided to get in some friends to help replace him.
It's going to be a permanent replacement, I think, after this podcast.
I think so.
I was going to say, if he keeps causing this much chaos, yeah, possibly, he might just get fully replaced. I, of course, am joined by a frequent guest of the podcast, although it's been a little while since he's been on here. Isaac, up in this top corner here of the Infinity Bros. He's been here a few times talking about a number of different things with us. Long time follower, time associate.
Trust, before you go on, 7 years ago today, Amazing Spider-Man came out in theaters. Just wanted to throw that little tidbit out there.
7 years ago.
7 years ago.
That's
actually, I thought it was longer when I saw that. I was like, gosh, that was only 7 years ago? It seems like a lot longer because MCU Spider-Man's already been here for, what, 5 years?
Yeah, something like that. Because when did Civil War come out? So, yeah.
That's crazy to think about. Anyway, sorry.
And, of course, along with Isaac, I also have another guest, longtime friend of the podcast. First time having him actually on the podcast, so this is very exciting today. We are joined up in this corner by Caleb of the Mountain Nerds podcast.
All right.
And we're muting him after that one.
And we're down to a two-man podcast now.
He had his chance. We gave him the shot. It didn't work out. It's no biggie. Shout out to Order of the Za. Thank you so much for that host as well. We appreciate it. But also, just so we can show off, we are supporting each other's streams today as well. I'm rocking Mountain Nerds, Isaac's rocking Comics in the Cross, and Caleb rocking Infinity Bros. You can't say we don't support each other's stuff. We're all wearing each other's merch today.
Guys, we didn't even plan this. It just was organic.
It just happened.
Each other all the time.
It just happened. I mean, I don't wear any other shirts unless it's one of the podcasts I support. It's like, that's all I wear now.
Good point.
But thank you so much to everyone that's chat's already popping off. I'm barely keeping up with it already. I love the fact that both the wives are in chat for you two to make sure that you behave yourselves as well.
Love it, yeah. No. Our wives are the ones that need to behave themselves. We got to keep them in check. Maybe Caleb. I'm the one that's keeping everybody in check.
You're the one keeping everyone in check. Is that how it works, Isaac? Yeah.
Exactly.
Everyone else is just all troublemakers.
Yep, pretty much.
Oh, here we go. I was wondering when he was going to do it. Ads has been chatting to me this past week. He was so excited with our Superhero Square Go we did during the 12-hour stream, and he was like, "How many?"
There it is.
I was like, "How many Superhero Square Go matches can I redeem for?" And I said, "If you got the points, dude, you can redeem as much as you want. You can do a whole card if you want." And so,
I mean, you guys could just make a list, and you'll just have to, keep tabs on it.
So he's redeemed his first one.
Ooh.
That's an interesting one.
That is interesting.
I like it.
I've not seen Lock and Key yet, so I need to get on that.
Read the comic.
Read the comic? Is the comic...
The comic's way better. The show's
better.
The show's decent. The show's pretty good. I do like the show. I'm excited for season 2. But see, when you read volume 1, I think Nitro, I don't know if he's still in chat, will agree with me when we did it for our comic book club. It's miles better. It's so much better. The show's good though for what it is. The show definitely does a good job, and I always give a shout out to a show that does cameo appearances from the creators. So the writer and artist both do little cameos in the last episode, which was cool. I could have booked the whole thing, lock steady. Yeah, if you got the points, Lock, you can book as many matches as you want. That's what the channel redemption's there for. If you want to book a whole 7 fights, we'll make the card. you know. As you saw though, like some of the fights, if we talk about some more than we do others, some of them are pretty straightforward, but if you want to give it a shot, go for it. But yeah, so let's do a little update since last week, since it's our first time being on since the 12-hour stream. For anyone who missed our 12-hour charity stream last week, where were you? Like, come on, seriously. We were here for 12 hours. Why didn't you pop in?
That's true. That was a long time.
Right.
Cross versus Nitro.
Yeah, buddy, let's go.
Can I just... do we even need to do that one as a fight? Like, I win, obviously.
We answered that right now. Okay.
I was going to say, it's like, I've got like 100 pounds on him. I was like, I'm...
I really wish Nitro was in chat right now, but that's okay. We'll get him next time.
And RKO, thank you so much for the compliment. RKO saying the hair's looking good. If any of you were not aware, yes, this is not my usual hair colour. One of the milestones that we set was...
Wait, what? It's not?
Yeah, I know, man. I rock it so well, you'd think it was what I actually have.
You're right. It actually...
Okay,
the red in your headphones accentuates that pretty well. It's
it kind of
pretty
fits
nice coloring going on there.
Yeah, I'm having like arguments with my 2-year-old daughter right now about it. It's like, it's Daddy's hair, and it's like, it's blue. And what's the other colour? Red. I said, well, no, it's pink. No, red.
Though me and Isaac both agree that Cross should have done purple with his beard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another... Next time you guys have a fundraiser, we'll have to add that to the goals list.
Yeah, no, that's not going to be happening. But I do have to say, though, I'm liking the hair. It's turned out really good. Like, Brittany at the hairdresser did an amazing job on it. It's looking great. So I'm well chuffed with this. Like, so you've got the pink going into the blue at that side. She's done a great job with it, so I'm really happy with it. Okay, apparently we're doing another Superhero Square Go at some point. People are just, like, redeeming matches like Cade.
Apparently.
Crazy.
He-Man versus Lion-O. Ooh, there we go.
That'd be a good one.
Johnny Cage versus Ken Masters. Dang. Yeah. Those are some good ones. Nice work, guys.
Yeah, I've got like 4 fights already. We're already like halfway.
My favorite one is the Cross versus Nitro. I think you guys should just set up a camera and actually do it live on stream.
Do an actual fight.
Just do an actual fight.
Yeah. That would get lots of viewers. I mean, I'm telling you, if you want to do it for the viewers, that's what you do.
There we go. The special hype for it, like me versus Nitro.
Yes. Please.
But yeah, so I got my hair coloured. We did a lot of good giveaways, which are all sitting here waiting to be sent now. They're all packaged up. But a massive thank you to everyone who did show up, because you came out and just blew us away. We were trying to raise $1,000. Thanks to RKO, who's in chat right now, we hit that at 15 minutes into the 12-hour stream, who just came in and just dropped $1,000 on us. And then thanks to your fundraising efforts, a special shout out to CV No Pro, who done a little bit of fundraising for the cause on her channel as well. Our final total was $2,549.08.
That's amazing.
Which is just nuts that we raised that much for Taka. And just thank you to everyone that did it. Thank you for everyone that helped us reach that amazing goal. We appreciate it from everyone.
Yeah, that's amazing. You guys rocked it.
You guys did an awesome job.
So we're probably going to be taking a break from the 12-hour streams, as we've been mandated by our wives after that. especially my wife, who, the legend she is, had 3 kids to herself for the whole day. She's like, it's probably going to be a 1-year thing at the moment until things are a little bit different. But yeah, so Infinity Bros or Mountain Nerd, step up. Your turn to do a 12-hour stream. When do y'all do it next?
It's in the works. I won't say anything else, but
there we go, a little teaser for it. But yeah, so we are joined by some special guests here for a very special reason. Oh yeah, thank you for putting those in there, Spider. Let me just shout out as well that we did some amazing fundraising, but y'all came out and supported us like crazy as well. Like, we had so many follows, so many gifted subs, so many Isaac's wife is no for the 12-hour stream. So many gifted subs, so many different stuff that came towards us, so many bits thrown out, that we actually have 2 new emotes that got approved like right away as well, so they're actually active. And that's all because of you opening up so many emote spots to us. So we now have the GG emote and the Talk Scottish to Me emote are now both live. And you can throw them up in chat if you are a sub of the channel. So that was kind of exciting, getting another couple of motes added too. But as I was saying, we've got some special guests here. We are going to be jumping back and reviewing Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And the Disney Plus series has wrapped up, so we're going to be delving into the ins and outs of it. We are going to be going full spoilers for this today. So if you have not seen the end of it, you don't want to know anything about it. Hey, Supercalifrag, how is it going, sir? Welcome on in. If you don't want anything spoiled from it, if you don't want anything, given to you that's not already out there, although the major spoiler kind of at the end, like, I don't know how you haven't heard about it yet. It's been all over the internet.
And you should have guessed it, But,
yeah, like it was.
But
wait,
besides
that, we're talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I thought this was WandaVision. I've never seen the. Just joking.
Well, Kayla, this is going to be an interesting show for you. And thank you, Locksteady, for that gifted sub to RKO. I appreciate it. So yeah, it's like we are going to be delving into this full spoilers, like right from the get-go. We're going to go full spoilers into this. I do have a couple of little news topics I want to just mention before we dive, because a couple of news topics did drop this week that are worth mentioning. But when we get into Falcon Winter Soldier, it's going to be full spoilers of what happened in the show and where we think it's going forward. But yeah, so a couple of news topics that were kind of interesting that dropped this week. First of all, like, how about we do a little bit of a chat about Miss Marvel? The Disney Plus show for Miss Marvel had an awesome drop of some pictures from set, and we got to see what Kamala Khan is actually going to look like in the show.
I will say with that cross, that costume looked really good.
The costume is amazing.
Was superb.
Like, I kid you not, the costume looks like it's literally been pulled right out of the comics.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, that, and like it looks like a finished product, which makes me think that's that hopefully this is going to be like the outfit that she has on towards the end of her show, because I kind of do want to see her. It would be fun to see like an origin story with her making her own costume and stuff like that. So I kind of was hoping for that, but still the costume looks amazing, and I cannot complain about that costume.
Chances are that it's going to be a final product, because that's one massive compliment I have to give to Disney Plus right now, is whoever is in charge of the costuming of their main characters has been rocking it. Like, we have seen some comic accurate costumes, like seeing Wanda as the Scarlet Witch at the end of WandaVision is like outfit was like straight out of the comics and updated, modernized. Spoiler for what we're about to talk about, Falcon Winter Soldier, like Falcon now becoming Captain America, and Sam Wilson's new Captain America outfit. Like, as soon as I've seen it, it's like
so good.
It's like, look at the front cover of the first volume of his run as Captain America. It looks like it's literally been taken off the page. It looks so amazing, so much better than I could ever have imagined it being. And then Miss Marvel, like, seeing her costume, they're like, dang, they are rocking it. These costumes like look like literally lifted from the comics. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Like the WandaVision one was amazing, and when Sam Wilson busts through the window with that Captain America costume, that was one of my favorite moments of the show. So on the Infinity Bros, we do a top 5 every episode. We did a top 5 like final moments or whatever from Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think that was like number 3 on my list, because that moment is amazing and the suit is fantastic. Like, I was expecting a Captain America suit, but that suit, like, that was a moment where I stood up and I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted.
I mean, we all knew it was coming. We all knew that was what the final look was going to be, but when he came in the outfit, it was phenomenal. It looked so good. Good to see you coming in, Smalls. Thank you for popping in. And I know for anyone who's in here, I know you just redeemed like the sexy sax sound alert. But unfortunately, like, for some reason, like, our sound alerts aren't working. Nitro like threw them all in to start playing them.
I'll be the sound alerts tonight.
Oh dear.
On the Comics in the Cross podcast. So.
you got to mute Isaac, right?
Yeah, gonna. Yeah, we're going to mute Isaac for the rest of the show now. So if the two of them keep up like this, I'm going to be doing the show myself. It's like if the two of you keep this up, I'm going to be doing the show myself at this point. But yeah, like the costumes are looking amazing. Miss Marvel looks phenomenal. Let me make sure I get her name right because I keep going to mispronounce this so often. Iman Vellani, who is the person that's playing Kamala Khan. Just, I mean, looking at the pictures of her, like she looks just like her. Like
she looks perfect.
It looks like her that's been pulled right out of the comics, not just the costume, but her herself. Like she's perfect for Miss Marvel, and it's given me a lot of hope. Then again, seeing like the shows I've done so far, I've got so much hope for what they're going to do with this character. And Miss Marvel, I think this is when she's going to take off and become a phenomenal name in the MCU. She did in the comics when that dropped, and if they do the same stuff with her on TV and on streaming, it's going to be the same. It really is.
That's one character that I don't really know much about previously, up until like I played the Avengers game. I played the Avengers game, and having her as kind of like one of the first starting heroes you play with. And then I kind of read a couple comics on her just because I wanted to know more about this character, and I think she's a pretty awesome character. So I'm excited to see like a live action adaptation of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should be really cool.
Absolutely. I mean, and she has. If you've never read any Miss Marvel stuff, to anyone in chat, it's like, go read it, go check her out. She's a new character. She's only been around. I don't think she's even been around 10 years yet. I think she first came out like 2012, 2013, something around there. But yeah, she just kind of took off and became her own thing, and obviously her name kind of comes from from Carol Danvers previously being Miss Marvel and being a Carol Danvers fangirl, but yeah, she's really made it her own, and it's just phenomenal to see now.
One thing I'm really excited about Miss Marvel with is that, and honestly, the MCU has done an amazing job like adapting these characters to current day. Like they're not pulling them straight from the comic pages and putting them in a movie. Like they adapt the characters to, make them a current character in the MCU. But one thing I'm really excited for Miss Marvel is that she is a character that is like all up on social media. Like she's very entrenched in the culture right now, like the current culture. And I think they're going to show that very well in the Disney Plus show. And if anything, these Disney Plus shows have showed us, it's that they are doing some incredible character building.
Yeah.
So the Miss Marvel show is going to be hilarious. It's going to be really fun to watch. So I'm really excited about it. And the fact that I guess I don't even know if they released it or if those were leaked or whatever, but man, those pictures were just phenomenal. Like they're just exactly what we want in a Ms. Marvel costume.
Yeah, and I mean, we're seeing it in all the stuff as well. And then again, a shout out to the costumes department, because we've seen a clip, I think it was actually one that Jeremy Renner himself posted, of the two Hawkeyes together, Kate Bishop and Clint Barton. And his outfit for that is looking very like comic accurate as well. Like
I think I'm most interested for that series to see how her powers translate on screen live action. That's gonna be really interesting how they do that.
That's probably going to be the show that's got the most CGI that we've seen yet. Because some of the other stuff, like you can work around it, you can do other things, but like her whole powers and ability is body morphing. So just for her using her powers, even in basic situations, we're probably going to see a lot of CGI in that one. But if they throw the right amount of money, like, because I mean, these shows so far, they've been movie quality, like in all the production values that they could easily have been MCU movies. So I don't see that being an issue for it. I see them it's Disney and Marvel's a moneymaker for them, and if they throw the money it deserves, it's going to look amazing.
Yeah, and from what I heard from, I think it was WandaVision, they were spending like around $25 million per episode in production, which is, for a TV show, that's insane. Yeah. That's ridiculous. But like that, I think that equaled out to about 250, maybe more, 250 million, which still for a movie budget is high. So like they're putting the work into these shows, and it shows that they look great. So I mean, can't expect anything less, honestly. I was talking to Chunk about this a while back. Disney Plus really, like, they haven't really missed on anything, so we can't really expect anything bad from them until they do, if that makes sense. Like,
every original show they brought out has been fire right now. Like, whether it's The Mandalorian, whether it was WandaVision, whether it was Falcon Winter Soldier. Heck, I'm even watching Mighty Ducks Game Changers right now. And they're all amazing shows. There's not been one of the shows dropped like that I've went, oh, this is a worth dropping, and you can just forget about it. Like, they've all been really good.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
They have all been awesome shows, and I'm like, they're knocking it out of the park, and they're like, no, come on. At some point, you have to stumble, right?
Right.
You have to have one misstep. I mean, even the MCU, as amazing as it is, has missteps in it. Has stuff that's like, that's not quite as good. Like, there's got to be something, but right now they're rocking it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you're a geek, if you like Marvel, if you like Star Wars, if you like even like the Mighty Ducks one, the nostalgia of Disney stuff, anything like that, like even for that, let alone the fact of like if you've got kids watching Disney stuff, like Disney Plus, like it earns its money from us on a monthly basis. It really does.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Also as well, just to kind of shout out for MCU, I can't remember who it was that said it, but someone had said that apparently like all the movies that have been announced so far for Phase 4 isn't their whole slate of movies. And that kind of follows up from the big announcement coming from Falcon Winter Soldier, which, again, for anyone who's not seen it, a bit of a spoiler going forward, but there's going to be a Captain America 4, which apparently was so secretive, even Anthony Mackie didn't know it was happening until it was announced. He found out off of somebody in a grocery store that told him that Captain America 4 was happening.
That's amazing.
That's how secretive it was. But apparently, there's more that are to come, so that's going to be interesting going forward. Like, we could see a lot more. Like, we didn't get it off of WandaVision, obviously, but because Wanda's going to be appearing in the next Doctor Strange movie already, she already had her next step planned. But literally any of these shows could lead to a movie. Lead to something going forward, which opens up a lot of possibilities.
Well, it's actually cool go ahead.
These shows are doing what it's hard for Marvel to do, is develop these characters over a significant period of time, because with a movie you really are restricted to 2 hours, 2.5 if you're pushing it. Like you can only do so much character development, which is where some of their movies have suffered a little bit. But these shows, like, you can do so much more with them, and they're nailing that part of it, even though there have been like little parts of these shows that they're not quite as action filled, although with Falcon and Winter Soldier, it was pretty action packed, but like they're focusing mainly on the character development in these shows rather than the storyline, which the storylines are great too. But they're focusing mainly on the characters, which is what you should be doing with these shows, because you can't do that in a 2-hour movie, or you can, just to a lesser degree. So I think they're taking the right approach, even though it kind of makes for, my co-host Max said it kind of makes for some less grandiose shows, if that makes sense. Like, they're not comparable to Avengers Endgame. They're not comparable to maybe any of the Avengers movies. But what they're doing is amazing character development through both of WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
But I think that's the thing, though, is like, if you look at the MCU movies, like stuff like WandaVision, for example, take that as a great example, because it is so different from everything that we've seen in the MCU. You don't need it to be on the level of like Infinity War or Endgame, or even like Captain America Winter Soldier, or any of these movies. You don't need it to be on that level, because like, if you want that level from Marvel, go see the movies.
True.
Everyone complains like, oh, Marvel just does the same stuff over and over again. They don't know how to tell different stories, which is absolute crap, first of all. There's different stories there. Do they all have a similar theme at certain points? Well, yeah, because they're superhero stories, but there's different genres to those hero stories, and you want Marvel to do something different. WandaVision.
Exactly.
How many episodes of that show had a fight in it? Like, I don't mean a super-powered action, I mean like a proper big superhero brawl fight.
Yeah.
It's like, which is what everyone expects from a Marvel movie. It's like, the show was literally about Wanda dealing with her grief. The entire show was about her dealing with her grief and the loss of Vision and the sorrow of like all these people coming back that had been snapped away, and she's still alone because Vision doesn't get to come back from that. It's like, that was a really powerful show, and it was so different, and I'm like, you can't stand there and say it's different. Like, even like Falcon Winter Soldier to a certain extent, which we'll get into, like it full blown for a few episodes went straight into the racial tones.
Mm-hmm.
Even to the point of Sam being told, yeah, a black man can't be Captain America. Which I kind of love, because that's a shot at the fans who freaked out in the comics when Sam became Captain America. Oh, you can't have a black Captain America, it's meant to be Steve. Like, whoa, it's a comic, calm down. But people freaked out about that, and I'm like, Marvel is pushing the boundary and doing stuff, and you can't just say it's the same stuff over and over. You can't anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of excited on that note to see what Loki's going to do.
Yes.
Since each of these, and I talked about this on the Geek Nation podcast, each of these television shows seem like they're going for like a different tone, you know, and I'm kind of interested to see what kind of tone and what kind of themes we'll get out of that show as well. So it should be relatively interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot kind of backing up the differences we're seeing in the show is just saying like stuff like Captain America, First Avenger, Ant-Man 1 are wildly different in tone, presentation, just from the movies, let alone a heavy change in everything for WandaVision. And both WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier went heavily into PTSD and looking at that side of things. Like, yeah, so like, just in saying that, like, I'm excited to see what they do with Loki.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't have predicted what happened in WandaVision. I couldn't have predicted the stuff in Falcon Winter Soldier, although a bit more with that. But something like Loki, where like how much free reign that's going to have.
Right. Well, and like it's kind of taking. It's obviously, like you said, Caleb, going to be a very different tone than the previous shows that we've had.
Yeah.
But it's kind of taking the WandaVision approach in these trailers. We have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Like. They've showed us that they're messing with time, and that's really all we know.
Yeah, that's
at
about
this
that.
point. Like, we don't know where the plot is going. We have no clue, and that's what I honestly loved about WandaVision, because these days trailers show a lot. Like, you can almost tell the plot of a movie based on a trailer these days, and sometimes that's a little bit of a detriment, because you see a cool scene. Guess what? You saw that shot in the trailer. And it doesn't have quite a big surprise or shock value as if you hadn't seen it before. So I love that. Like, WandaVision was amazing for that, and I'm really excited for Loki because of that too. Because we have no clue. This could go any direction, and we're just along there for the ride.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm actually kind of hoping for a more of a comedic approach.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be funnier than the previous two shows for sure. I think they guarantee that.
I think they need to do that just to break it up, and not. I hope they don't do Loki kind of like, you know how Marvel, it was like kind of serious. The tone was kind of serious in Iron Man 2, Captain America. We had this very seriousness, and then they got to Guardians of the Galaxy, and then they were like, oh, we can make this funny, and then every Marvel movie after that tried to be funny, but it was kind of like weird funny. It was like awkward funny in some moments, that they were like trying to push the comedy, and it got like really weird. But I'm really hoping it kind of goes back to the same kind of humor that we enjoyed in Guardians of the Galaxy, where it was like organic and just fun. And because I think we do need a fun movie after, or a fun show after the more serious undertones that we had in these two other shows. So
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. So we jump over to another bit of news that we had as we jump over to the DC side of things. We had an interesting casting announcement this week. Is it The Rock as Black Adam? Is that Rock is Black Adam? It's nearly the 10th anniversary of the announcement of that, you know. Actually, it's for an upcoming HBO Max show for the Green Lantern Corps series. We got the announcement that Finn Wittrock has been cast as Guy Gardner, and is officially our first casting announcement for that show. Which is interesting, because the Green Lantern show's kind of been in development limbo for quite some time. They were going to make a movie, and then they were doing a show, and then we didn't really hear anything about it. And then we started hearing all the conversation taking place about there was meant to be a Green Lantern shot in Zack Snyder's Justice League with someone cast as Jon Stewart. But for some reason it wasn't put into the movie or whatever. But now looks like we're getting the Green Lantern show, which they've been talking about, but we officially have our first casting, and randomly it's Guy Gardner.
That was the weird part to me, because like honestly this guy looks the part of Guy Gardner. Like I can't fault the casting, but like why did they cast him first? Or maybe that's just what broke first. I don't know.
I hope it's what broke first, but like I mean literally every other like human Green Lantern is more popular, more well known.
Yeah.
Guy Gardner is literally hated by people.
Yeah,
you will literally hate him. He is a jackass. He is an arrogant...
if we don't get Jon Stewart Green Lantern, I don't even want the show.
Jon Stewart is the superior Green Lantern of all time.
We need Jon Stewart. I'd be actually okay if we left Hal Jordan out. I'd be fine if we had him in there too. But if we don't get Jon Stewart Green Lantern, I'm gonna riot. Okay, it's like we need it.
I think they need to do what they did during DC Rebirth in the comics when they had like the two different Green Lantern books. The book they had like focused on the Green Lantern Corps. Like it was a kind of like joint led book between Guy Gardner and Jon Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we need for the show. Like if you want to do another Green Lantern like your main Green Lantern needs to be Jon Stewart. Just because we've done the Hal Jordan thing, and the honest truth, Hal Jordan's not that interesting a character.
No, he's really not.
He's okay. I love Green Lantern stuff. I think the Green Lantern stories are great. But like I'm not that. Yeah, kind of what I'm about to go into that sort of stuff. As like what I want to see is like the other human Green Lanterns. I want to see more of the Green Lantern Corps. I don't stay away from Earth. I want to see space. Right, I want to see all the other Lantern Corps. I want to see the Red Lanterns.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is like if this show doesn't have the other the other Lantern Corps in it, like then I don't even want the show again. Like it's just like this is such a cool part of the DC universe that has not been fully explored in movies or even animation. Honestly. Like they need to focus on this and make it a thing, because that would be so cool to see all the different characters from all the different Lantern Corps in here.
Do you guys think we'll see Sinestro? I hope so.
I think we
will. We will at some point. I think the smart move here though is to not do Sinestro right away.
Mm-hmm.
The smart move, I think, if you're looking for a villain, I think you need to do the Red Lanterns. Just to separate it and keep it different from the Green Lantern movie. Right. And then lead, if you're going to do a second season, lead to a second season against Sinestro and the Sinestro Corps as a second season. But I think start off against Atrocitus and the Red Lanterns just to give us something different. Because you can even play with that in the comics. Like Guy Gardner ends up getting a Red Lantern ring at one point and all this stuff. You can play with all of that sort of stuff if you do that as well and make it different and unique.
Gosh, if this series in any way leads to a Blackest Night scenario, that would be like the coolest thing ever. And
that would be pretty sweet.
Oh man, like I feel like that's like looking way down the line, and we can't trust WB at this point to do anything like that. But like if they're not at least considering it while planning the show out, they're making a mistake, because that's one of my favorite DC storylines of all time.
The problem with Blackest Night is if you want to make it happen in the right way like it is in the comics, it has to be all encompassing of the DC universe.
That is a problem.
And the problem is, are they going to be able to encompass everything? Because like it's such a cool story. It's one of my favorite DC stories of all time, Blackest Night. You know what I mean? Like Black Lantern zombies. That's
so cool.
That's all you need. Like, yep, I'm in. Like that's the pitch right there. That's enough. But you need it to be all encompassing. You need it to be characters.
Right there. And one thing they could do to kind of fix that was, I mean, they're already planning to go to multiverse with the Flashpoint movie. So maybe you take just some random other characters that, I mean, it wouldn't probably have as much of an impact. But again, I don't like the WB has zero trust from basically anybody at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you were to make it happen, that's one thing you could do. Now, if you could rope, all the big name actors that have been playing these characters into some kind of show or something, that would be amazing. But yeah, that's too much to ask from WB. I'm already going way above my head.
No,
even like suggesting that. So
let's put it this way: they managed to screw up Justice League, which should have been the easiest $1 billion you have ever made in your life, and you screwed that up. And I'm like heck, do I trust you with Blackest Night and anything on that scale? Like, no. And to kind of catch up with chat a little bit, people are saying the Lantern Corps shouldn't focus on Earth at all. People are thinking, curious who was going to play Kyle Rayner. I would kind of hold off on Kyle Rayner initially as well. I would start setting some stuff up for him, absolutely. But because Kyle Rayner's, it's hard to think of him as just a Green Lantern now. Because he's honestly, such a powerful character.
Most people, I feel like most people do most people associate him as a Green Lantern? I don't.
For the last few years, he was a White Lantern for forever there, for a good few years.
That's honestly, because that's when I was introduced to him, when he was a White Lantern. So
yeah, but he's been a Green Lantern.
Think of him as a Green Lantern, but yeah.
It depends what era you read, because if you go back to freaking Grant Morrison's JLA comics, he was the Green Lantern in those and stuff, and so he's got a massive history, but it depends when you started reading Kyle Rayner.
Right.
But I think with so many Green Lanterns set up for him as a White Lantern is probably the best step. Locke saying, so Skip Sinestro bring a Green Lantern first? Absolutely.
Right.
You can do that as a flashback. That is not a thing that has to be in the show. Let's just jump straight into the good stuff. Don't spend years setting up the Lantern Corps. Let's just jump into Sinestro's a bad guy. He's a Yellow Lantern. Let's get into some space fights. Let's get into these different corps already exist, because there's so much. Once the corps are established, there's so much to delve into. Let's just jump straight into it.
Absolutely. There's much material there that they could go with for sure. Honestly, if you're introducing White Lanterns, you're doing a disservice to yourself if you're not thinking about Blackest Night.
Well, yeah, to get the White Lanterns, you kind of have to do the Blackest Night to do it properly.
Yeah.
I'd say one of the things I liked about the Green Lantern animated show was how they included all the Lantern Corps. Got Isaac and Chunk fighting with each other.
That's as usual. I'll never forgive Chunk for taking my founder badge away from the Mountain Nerds channel. I'll never forgive him.
Wow. Seal talking about he's just going to be over on Amazon watching the Lord of the Rings stuff. Seal, thank you for being here. I know you're not big into all the superhero shows, which, don't get me wrong, I definitely want to check out that Lord of the Rings show when it drops as well.
It's sounding interesting. I'm down.
Co-op trio in the house. How you doing, Coop? Good to see you, sir.
Watson.
Seal saying it's not easy being green. Chunk says it's confirmed Seal the Centurion is Kermit the Frog. Our chat goes to some weird places during these podcasts. It really does. Alright, I think that was most of the major stuff this week. That was kind of the major ones I wanted to talk about anyway. It was just some of the reveals and the cast and stuff. I'm sure there's other stuff that's happened that I'm 100% forgetting. I've had a week of just relaxing away from everything though after the 12-hour stream, so if there's any other news that someone wanted us to talk about, throw it in chat. But we are going to delve into some Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So, as I said from the get-go, Nitro back in the house, popping in and out. We are going to be talking full spoilers for Falcon and Winter Soldier. We've already kind of spoiled a few things if you've not seen the end of it. So, it's your last chance to get out. If you've not heard anything and you don't want to be spoiled, time for you to get out, because we've already talked about Sam becoming Captain America, so we've kind of already started spoiling the big stuff.
And if you didn't expect that and you got that spoiled, I mean, shame on you, because we knew that 2 years ago. So
yeah, I think that was kind of hinted at heavily at the end of Endgame when Steve Rogers gave Sam the shield and said that basically it's his now. Which, don't get me wrong, that was the interesting starting point of this show. Was like, see when it started off.
It really was, yeah.
Was like, was him choosing to give up the shield and like put it in a museum. Part of him is like, oh, don't be like one of these shows. Don't do this whole thing where we're going to drag it out of him not worthy and like he's going to end up getting it back because of course he is, because Steve gave it to him already. Can we just jump to that and not drag this out for like 5-6 episodes?
You know, I will say I was excited in that first episode to see Rhodey. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was a cool little
pop in. I was like, whoa, check that out.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. But then again, he's getting his own show as well, so it's like, with the Armor Wars.
They got to remind us that he's still there in the within the universe, which once again is why I'm really liking these shows, because they are taking these minor characters and I don't want to say throwaway characters, but just these minor characters that Marvel just kind of forgets to mention because the movies are obviously saturated with whoever the main hero is of that movie. So we're getting to see these little minor characters kind of get their own, like Isaac, kind of like you were talking earlier, get their own like development, and we get to see these relationships and we get to see these things happening that are gonna affect in future movies. So it's really cool that we got to see him just to come in just saying, hey, look, he's still around, he's still here, get ready for him.
Yeah.
So, absolutely, yeah.
That was cool. It was a cool cameo, and I think I mentioned, on our podcast that like the more cameos we see of any MCU characters, the better. Like I want to see all the cameos. So bring everybody into each of these shows. I don't even care if it makes sense or not. Just bring them in.
And that's something I think Marvel's done really good. Is even like as AMCU's went on itself is. They've really made it feel like an interconnected universe. Like we start seeing characters cross over and appear with each other.
Exactly.
And even if it's not their movie, they show up in these movies, and they've made it feel like it's one universe where all these characters live together. So just even little things like that, like you said with Rhodey showing up like right at the start, like right off the get-go, was awesome. It was really cool just to see that crossover, and definitely excited for more. But yeah, we went into this first episode. If you didn't realise this was Sam's show, it became very apparent as we saw so much of Sam's life, and the focus very much became on Sam. Which that is something that Nitro was saying in our Discord at one point, and I do kind of stand by. It's called Falcon and Winter Soldier, but Winter Soldier really does take a backseat. Bucky does take more of a backseat to Sam in this, which I'm personally. I don't like, because like I'm a big fan of Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes. I think he does an amazing job with that character. I wanted to see a lot more of him, which got better as the show went on. Like for me, like the first couple of episodes were very, it's okay. It was like around about episode 3, like okay, this is picking up now, and this is starting to draw me in, and we started seeing a lot of the great connection between, Sam and Bucky as well. But yeah, from the first couple of episodes, it's very clear that it's Sam's show, that it's his journey to becoming Captain America, and yeah, like I wasn't sure how it was going to start, but like starting off with the shield going to the museum, starting off with the shield being put on display, and seeing Sam feeling like he's not worthy to kind of wield it was definitely an interesting path for it to go. I think it was a smart path for it to take, because it definitely highlights that journey later on. But yeah, from there, we really, for the rest of that first episode, we kind of just got a looks into their lives and where they're at now. So how do you guys feel coming into this then? How do you feel coming into this first episode and kind of what we've seen? Because we got to see more of their lives as they are now.
It's coming into this this show itself, like actually Falcon and Winter Soldier had me hyped more than any other Disney Plus show that had been announced, because I personally really liked the interaction that we've already had in the MCU between Sam Wilson and Bucky. And I don't know, like just the whole, it kind of was set up as like a spy thriller, action-packed series, which it was a little bit of a twist. Like I felt like we got a lot more character development than action, even though we still got a lot of action in this show. But I was like coming into this show made me really excited. And I mean, I don't know what would have happened if COVID had not like messed everything up, but like I was almost expecting some Black Widow crossover in this show. And you know, there's, you could say so much stuff that they could have done, you know, if had all this stuff not went down, and maybe they had plans, maybe they didn't, who knows at this point. But it would have been really cool to see, you know, some characters cross over, especially with, which we might actually see with the Countess, what was her name? Valentina, I think at the end. There's been speculation, and I think she actually said something about appearing in the Black Widow movie. So we might see her again soon, and she's obviously going to be in the MCU down the line because US Agent has a part to play somewhere. And man, like, it would have been cool to see a couple more appearances. But again, you know, like, I was absolutely thrilled with how this show went down. Granted, less action than I expected, but they put a lot more into these characters than I expected them to. So it showed up, like, the work that they put into it showed up in other areas that I kind of was surprised by. So it was all right.
Yeah, for me, I think it was, I went into it with different expectations. I thought Zemo was going to be the kind of the big bad of the whole thing, manipulating everybody and doing what he does. And so that was kind of it. I don't want to say it didn't meet those expectations, but at the same time, that was okay. The way they did with his character. I did also think we were going to get more buddy cop kind of thing, and we didn't. It was a little bit different, which was once again okay. We had some surprise characters like the Countess or whatever her name is. I didn't expect that at all. I had to look her up and do a little bit of research on her, and I was like, "What is this? This is crazy." But I and then we got some of the different. There was like little things in the show that I really liked. We got to find out, hey, superheroes don't get paid.
Yeah,
it's not like that one little tiny detail. I never thought that I needed that question answered until it was answered, and I was like, oh,
you know, that raises the question. That raises the question of how did Vision buy a house in New Jersey for Wanda? Like, Mephisto, if he doesn't get paid, Mephisto, probably, you're right. If he doesn't get paid, how does he buy a house? How does he do it?
This is true. You know, doesn't have that Iron Man money anymore.
No, but it just and then the other things like anyone could wield the shield. You know, you don't have to be a super soldier to carry it and to use it. It just never really occurred in my mind that, okay, anyone, you know, I would use it terribly, but you know, anyone could use it. So there was those little things that made the show very interesting. Overall, it wasn't my favorite. It's not, I'm just saying it in terms of, it just felt like a normal kind of Marvel show. You know, there wasn't like, so WandaVision for me, I liked a little bit better, but I also like more of like the mystery and we got to figure this out and the twists and turns. And this was kind of like on the surface level, except for like little things like who's the power broker and things like that. But overall, I mean, it was for what it was, it was a great show. It didn't hit those expectations, like I mentioned earlier, that in my mind I thought was going to happen. But sitting there and watching the whole series through, I was kind of okay with that. I was okay with how it ended. I was ecstatic to see the outfit. I mean, that was like one of my favorite parts,
absolutely, of
the show. And then just like we did get a little bit of humor in it as well, like just the whole like. I love the fact that you know, Bucky came and was helping with the boat, and he was kind of flirting with his sister. You know, he's like, "Dude, don't flirt with my sister." Like,
come on, man.
I love it.
I still love I love the meme line as well when he's helping with the boat, when he turns off like the whatever it is that's broke, the steam and stuff, and he goes to him, "Why didn't you use the metal hand?" Like, I don't think about it. I'm right-handed. I'm right-handed. I don't always think about it, and I'm like, yeah, actually, that does make sense, you know. But yeah, I think that's the thing for me with this show. Like, I did enjoy this show. Like I said, I wasn't totally into the first couple of episodes, but if you take it like an extended movie, like, yeah, that intro, you're still kind of getting into it, and then it starts to pick up, and it really picked up by the end. I do think I definitely enjoyed WandaVision more, but I very much feel like this show was more of a setup show, if that makes sense. Like, it was definitely
absolutely.
a setup of this is what's to come. Like, it was moving some chess pieces around for what's next. Like, everything was moved around in different places, and people's lives were changed, and different setups happened from it. Like, you know, like, we got to see Sam in his role. Like, again, kind of like you said, Caleb, with the interesting thing of him being at the bank with his sister, and the fact, you know, they don't have money. And then the fact of, like, well, how do people deal with coming back from the snap? Because it's like, oh, you don't have any records for the last 5 years. And it's like, really? It's like, really? I was dusted by Thanos, like, and you wonder why I've not got any records for the last 5 years. I'm like, but again, though, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That's what banks would do. Because they suck. Even, like, as well, like, what they do with the shield, like, right away is given to someone to be Captain America. And
exactly
John
what
Walker.
the government would do.
Oh yeah, we need the cap. Give it to him.
Now also just diving into it, I know we kind of talked about this earlier as well, is like the themes in it about like racism and stuff like that, and I kind of, it made me kind of think more about it, because obviously I'm a white guy. I don't normally get racial profiled by police. You know, that's something that doesn't happen to me.
Yeah,
and doesn't happen to a lot of people, and I think there can be kind of an ignorance to that for white families, and just not, because it's just something we don't go. It's just something that truly and honestly we don't go through.
Yeah.
And for them to show that was kind of, especially all across these different, you know, homes that watch this, obviously, you know, that I think that was like a big deal, absolutely big deal, that, you know, if you're watching this with your kids and your kids are watching this, they're like, why is that cop harassing him? I don't understand. That's a good point of conversation with your kids. And it also kind of, you know, with the whole Isaiah Bradley thing, I don't know, it just made me think and was like, wow, like, this is what Black people go through sometimes.
The stuff with Isaiah Bradley was really, I didn't expect it. Like, I didn't think we were going to get that sort of stuff in the show. I didn't think they were even going to mention him. And then not only did that come in, it became such a powerful thing. I mean, even that first time they go to see him and you see how hurt he is, and then there's that scene like right after it where Bucky and Sam are arguing walking up the street, and the police stop and they ask him if he's being harassed.
Yeah.
And you can even see Bucky's face looking at them like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm talking to my friend. And it's like, yeah, like Chunk My Heart saying this, well, like the fact that he was even got called Black Falcon. Like, it wasn't just Falcon. Like, people kept calling, like, Sam Black Falcon. I'm like, well, yeah, he's black, but his name's just Falcon. But, like, the police, like, harassing Sam until they realise, oh, crap, you're an Avenger. And then they automatically back off and, like, wait a minute, no, you were, like, completely harassing me.
Yeah.
Right up until you realised who the hell I was. It's like, no. Like, come on. But, yeah, Isaiah Bradley's story and, like, delving into that racism and realising that they actually are picking up where the comics went of, like, Steve wasn't the only super soldier.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, and it's like, and you kind of feel like, don't get me wrong, like, some of the shots and the stuff that he said, it did hit to the core, because I felt like on behalf of, like, you know, Steve, even, like, Steve Rogers is such a good man. Like, he wouldn't have thought twice. Like, he had no idea what happened to Isaiah Bradley and someone coming after him like that.
Yeah.
He probably didn't even think twice about there being a racial issue about giving Sam the shield. He just saw Sam was the right person to get it. Which was that great contrast that we've seen. Like, John Walker was picked by men. And there's almost like an amazing, you know, to say like Steve Rogers is God, but it's almost like this amazing thing of like what man chooses and what God chooses, how we look at stuff that's so different. And like that meme started then going about the internet like crazy of like, why was Steve chosen originally?
Right.
Not because he was a good soldier, but because he was a good man.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
And like they picked John Walker because, and he even said it at one point, the perfect soldier.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, the parallels to the first Avenger in throughout this whole show, honestly, were just incredible.
Yeah.
Like the just showing, and this is why the last episode in this show was so powerful, because it showed just how good of a person Sam Wilson was.
Yeah.
That he was the perfect Captain America, and that's why Steve chose him. And man, like you were saying, the whole storyline with Isaiah Bradley, the most powerful moment in that is when he says nobody wants a black Captain America, and no self-respecting black man would want to be Captain America. Yeah. That was the thing that hit me, because I was like, I mean, as a white guy, everybody wants to be Captain America, right? Like, he's like the pinnacle of morality in superheroes, right? So that's what we look at, and we're like, who doesn't want to be Captain America? He's the best. He's awesome. But for somebody who has been put down and disrespected and just, I mean, discriminated against for years and years and years, and actually, sorry, this is kind of a shameless self-plug, but if you guys go to episode 74 of the Infinity Bros podcast, we had the Geek Nation on, David and Matt from Geek Nation, and they shared their perspective with us as black dudes in the US, and like kind of like shared with us like what their perspective of this show was. And it was actually eye-opening. Like, David literally said, yeah, I agreed with Isaiah Bradley. Like, I would not want to be Captain America because of all of the things that he has experienced in his life. So that was just that. I mean, seeing it from a fresh perspective from that point of view was just, I mean, that was mind-blowing to me. And the fact that Sam Wilson, I mean, he you can see the conflict in him when he says that to him, right? I mean, like, Sam knows he's got a point for sure.
Yeah.
But Sam Wilson knows that, I mean, he can do more good for people as Captain America.
Yeah.
So he like, I mean, he basically is taking one for the team being Captain America, because like he says in his speech at the very end, I mean, he's not going to get full respect as Captain America ever.
Yeah.
As Steve Rogers will, because he's a black guy.
And he even mentions that as well. He's like, I could see it right now. People are looking at me and they're judging me, you know?
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, that speech itself was just the epitome of Captain America. Like, he was sticking up for the people that he was fighting for against the government who put John Walker as Captain America. Like, that was just like, when I saw that scene, I was like, this is it. I mean, if we had any doubts that Sam Wilson is Captain America before that scene cemented him as a fantastic MCU Captain America. Absolutely. And that's why I'm like absolutely stoked for Captain America 4 with Sam Wilson.
I think Marvel actually just updated their banner that showed like the different heroes, and I think they actually have officially put Sam Wilson as Captain America on the site.
They should, and
absolutely.
Which I still stand by it today. I still think even in the comics, Sam should still be Captain America. I think it was a stupid thing to take it off of him, because I don't think it's something that they had to ever give back to Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers doesn't need that role. Steve Rogers 100% doesn't. But the thing that they did in the comics, which I'm so glad that they've transitioned, and they proved it with that final speech from Sam, was if you read the Steve Rogers Captain America runs compared to Sam Wilson's, they are completely different beasts. Sam Wilson's is a lot more modern, a lot more political, a lot more racially charged, a lot more of him dealing with those sorts of issues that you never really got with Steve Rogers. And that speech at the very end of that episode was like, yeah, they're not holding back from it. They're going to go all in on this. They're going to go all in on him as it. And it's like, and I love the fact that they've reshuffled Captain America completely to, yes, he is focused on this. Yes, he is trying to represent what America should be. He is trying to represent this ideal that we should be living up to. And yeah, he's not a super soldier. He is a regular, normal, everyday black man who's trying to do his best to help the people and to stand up for the people. And it's like, and proving that he was chosen for the right reasons. And it's like, it's Absolutely. Just, it was so phenomenal to see. And he was definitely the right one to take the shield. He was definitely the right one to be given it. And I've got to give, props to Anthony Mackie. He killed it in this role. Like, Falcon's has always been this background character for the last little while, like in the movies and stuff. Anthony Mackie's been there. He's been a great character, but he's always been a background character. I couldn't have cared less about Falcon in the movies, to be honest.
Well, and not to mention, they turned him into, I wouldn't say a joke character, but they turned him into a comedic character in Ant-Man. Like, after that, he was just a funny guy.
Yeah, he had some funny scenes. He had some good action bits, like, you know, him fighting Ant-Man, him in Endgame when he does it on your left, when these portals open up, and there's some really cool moments, but it's like, he was always just kind of there. And it's like, and that's the kind of like we talked about earlier, like the whole, like, getting to delve deeper into these characters, these side characters who never got time in the movies. They've managed to make me fully embrace and care about Sam Wilson, and want to see him succeed, and want to see him take the shield, and want to see him stand up. And I mean, like, I was like almost cheering at that moment, like when he comes through that window at the start of the final episode, and he's in the full new Captain America outfit, shield in hand, and like, that suit is gorgeous. It's so beautifully designed, and I'm like, dang, that looks amazing.
And you guys like better, the WandaVision Scarlet Witch outfit or the Falcon and Winter Soldier Captain America outfit?
Captain America outfit.
Yeah, for me it has to be the Captain America. I love I love Scarlet Witch's outfit in that. It is amazing. Elizabeth Olsen looks phenomenal in it. She looks totally the part. But that Captain America outfit is stunning. And
so good.
Even compared to the previous ones that Chris Evans wore, like, that's the best looking one that they've done. And I love that they completely, like, the way they designed it. I love the look of it. I love they even incorporated Wakanda there. The fact it was made by the Wakandans that Bucky called in a favor, which you get to see in action. Which I love the fact of, like, he uses the shields and the wings to, like, block a helicopter. Like, the helicopter smashes and it doesn't move, and I'm like, dang.
Is any of his fight scenes throughout the show, which
man, when he's seamlessly
just amazing.
Like, using the shield in conjunction with his wings, that's like the best action in the whole show. Like in that last episode, it's incredible.
I love that. And even before he had the suit, just his character just with the wings and just the way he moves in a fight scene is just so like he like fluidly moves, and the way he fights. I mean, when they were fighting, when it was him and Bucky fighting John Walker in that warehouse,
such a good fight.
It was a great scene.
It was such a great scene.
I love the ending moment of that fight, and we'll go a bit more into it. But just the moment of, like, Bucky swings him like a baseball bat, and Sam like blasts into him full force with a shield.
And they all fall down on the ground, just like
And like, he hit off that shield. I was like, oh,
that was nuts.
But it's so good. Sam's the perfect choice. I'm excited for Captain America 4.
Great.
I'm excited. I'm excited if we get another, you know, series of this, because they obviously changed the name at the end of it, Captain America and Winter Soldier. Should have been Captain America and White Wolf, but that
would have been really cool.
I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to be spiteful.
So I'm kind of my thought now is, are we going to see Bucky in Captain America 4? I would think we would.
I think we will, at least a little bit. I don't think it's going to be like this show, because this show was setting up very much like they were partners and stuff. But in the show, they actually set up for Sam's sidekick and partner, because Torres that works with him is actually a character from the comics, and actually becomes the new Falcon.
The way they set that up,
his wings.
So they left him those wings. So it was like
perfect.
So. When they left these wings, it very much felt like, you know, like that. Terrence Howard was no longer with the MCU, like in the first Iron Man, when he's like, "Oh yeah, next time, when like, okay, we're bringing in War Machine." Except this guy will actually get to play the role. You know,
will he though? I mean, we don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. But, you know, like, clearly setting up like him to be the new Falcon and him to be the partner, and I'm like, okay, awesome. We're definitely setting up. Kind of like what I said, this show was a lot of moving parts to set up what's next. I think we're going to see Bucky make an appearance. I don't think he's going to be like fully within it. I actually think we're more likely going to see him doing some stuff in Black Panther 2, possibly.
I would actually love it. So from what I understand,
just because they still had that, just because they still had that like Wakanda link, and especially if they do go into like the death of T'Challa in the next Black Panther, I think we're more likely to see him go that direction for a little bit.
I think they are, from what I understand, developing a Wakanda series down the line.
Yeah, it's been mentioned.
And it would be interesting to see him kind of there, because obviously he has very strong ties with Wakanda.
Yeah.
That he's like, had these interactions a whole bunch of times, and we've seen a little bit of I thought it was cool too. We got to see like the kind of deprogramming that IO did with
that
with
was
him.
so cool.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, we didn't get to see that. Like, we kind of got hinted that happened, obviously, but it was like to actually get to see that play out. That was
cool.
I was like literally almost in tears at the opening of that episode when I saw Bucky in tears, like when all the code words were said and he just sat there. I'm like, my goodness, it was so powerful.
It was really good.
I think so. Nitro was saying earlier, and Cross, you referenced this. I mean, we had a small chat about it in Discord, but Bucky was somewhat sidelined, if you want to say that, in this show, because I mean, honestly, the show is about Sam Wilson becoming Captain America.
Yeah,
that's the main focus of the show. And even, I mean, I almost have to dock this show points because the antagonists were crap in this show. Honestly, for a Marvel production, these were very underwhelming villains.
They were a means to an end. They were literally you could have taken them out and put in anyone there,
But with the level of investment that we have in Bucky's backstory, it would be a travesty if we don't see him as much in the MCU going forward. Because now that he is deprogrammed, like you guys were talking about, he can finally start to discover who he is as a person.
Yeah,
and that was honestly part of Sam's character development too. Because I don't know. Kevin Feige either is the best, which he is, at planning all this stuff out, but Sam's role as a PTSD like counselor was amazing in this show. The way he helped so many people through like what they're going through, including Bucky, is fantastic, and another reason why he's the perfect Captain America.
Yeah, because like he very much
was incredible.
Yeah, because that counselling session when they're throwing the shield and he's practicing with each other, and he's just talking to Bucky, like it really defined Bucky's journey in this show. And I do want to talk about Bucky now, just because I do want to focus on it because I am a big fan of his character. I love Bucky in this. Sebastian Stan is phenomenal as Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, and
the fact I want to see him get expanded on more
through that trauma through Sam. I think moving forward, they need to include him in the MCU somehow. I don't know how that is because I don't think there's a huge demand for a Winter Soldier, White Wolf like movie. I don't know how they incorporate that in.
Yeah,
but
I don't think it's a solo
in the MCU moving forward because he is an awesome character.
Yeah.
And I really hope that they keep holding on to him.
One of the lines that really got me was when he was talking about Sam and he was telling him, "Hey, you have to take this role." He's like, because if Steve was wrong about you, then he was wrong about me.
Yeah.
And that line, I was like, whoa. But it was also to kind of see that his development through the series. He at the end he had his closure, which was awesome. I love to see that he gave the book up. And he could have shot Zemo and he didn't. He could have killed Zemo right there.
Yeah.
And he said, nope.
Yeah, it was phenomenal to see because just in that line, like you said, like Bucky, like we saw him being so mad at Sam for giving up the shield, and I loved like seeing that come to a head of why he was mad, and it completely goes with the theme of like what he's went through as Winter Soldier, because the only one who has always been there for him to try and help him has been Steve. The one that took him and tried to reprogram him, took him to Wakanda, that tried to do all this stuff to help him has always been Steve. And now his best friend is gone? Question mark? Because they kind of highly hinted that Steve's dead now. And I'm like,
he's on the moon.
Or he's on the moon,
Or he's dead on the moon.
I would like to hope that if Steve Rogers died, we would have seen some sort of funeral for him, considering he was Captain America.
I talked about this ad nauseum, but like the way they talk about him, it sounds like he's dead, but they never say he's dead.
They keep going on like he's dead, and I'm like, but like he wasn't. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's still in a secluded life because he obviously lived a secluded life when he went back in time and lived his life out normally.
Yeah.
So he's obviously got a secluded life. He's staying away from the limelight stuff now, and because he's done his time. just let us know if he's alive. Like even just a little pop up at the end there to show like, hey, I'm still here, you know,
right.
Or mention that he's dead. But yeah, like I loved Bucky's whole journey in this. Like even like the opening episode of him and the old guy, and like, you know, picking him up and taking him out for drinks and stuff, and we find out it's the father of a guy that he killed, and
trying to make amends,
trying to find a way to make
past.
amends, but can't like quite come clean and tell the guy. All wrapping up to kind of like what you said about like Sam counseling him and, you know, helping him through that. Of like, what have you been doing? You're trying to make yourself feel better by stopping these people that you enabled, but like you're not actually making amends.
Yeah,
it's like you need to be honest. You need to make amends. Like Locke's saying there, you weren't making amends, you were avenging. You know.
I know we're gonna get into it in a bit here, but I've got a super wild conspiracy theory for you guys. So
good. I like
we've been talking about Steve Rogers on the moon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the comics, Steve Rogers is an old guy, affectionately known as Old Man Rogers. He is in a suit that somebody accuses him of murder from way back in the day. And there are some very interesting characters in this suit. Defending him in court is She-Hulk, which we have a She-Hulk show coming up, I believe next year, maybe 2022 even.
Yeah.
Not exactly sure when that's coming up. The prosecution is Matt Murdock, Daredevil. Now, I'm not the one throwing around conspiracy theories on the Infinity Bros podcast most of the time, but gall darn it, if they are not setting us up for something like this in She-Hulk, oh man, that would be amazing. There's plenty of other conspiracy theories surrounding Old Man Rogers that Jarrett, my co-host, will fill you in on, because he's got a lot of things to talk about. But
is Mark Jones texting you right now and telling you to say these things?
Yeah, he might be. You got me.
I want to know if you guys just did you see my superhero square go?
Oh yeah, I just wrote it down there. I got your pick.
Old Man Rogers versus Old Man Logan.
The two crotchety old men of the MC.
Oh my gosh, Locke.
Yeah, I love Locke correcting you there. Is it 2022 or is it next year? Same thing.
I'm still in 2020 apparently. So
apparently,
he never left.
But yeah, jumping back over to Bucky's story, just to go into it, I love the fact that we get to see him making amends, and although we don't see the conversation like with the old guy, we get to see him talking to him and going to his apartment and kind of tells him that he was the one that did it. He was the Winter Soldier and he murdered him, and being brave in himself to like come out and say that stuff and being free enough of it. And kind of like was already mentioned as well, like the fact of like, you know, bringing Zemo in and stuff, but then giving him over to the Wakandans, not killing him when he clearly could have. He could have just walked up and just shot him. And it was almost looked like he was about to, and it almost looked like, you know, Zemo kind of half expected him to. You know, but because Zemo throughout the show as well keeps making shots at him that he's still the Winter Soldier. And, you know, especially like when they go to Madripoor and like making him act like his bodyguard and doing some of the stuff he used to do to get the information they need. It's like he's very much hints at like, hey, he just kind of went right back into it, and, you know, maybe he's not that far from it. And so you see that closure. And one of the interesting things I find as well is like, whereas in like the comics when Steve gets killed in the Civil War comic and Bucky takes up the mantle of Captain America, I love the fact of like there was no fight in this. There was no him trying to take the mantle. There was no him saying that, fine, if you're not going to wield it, I'll wield the shield then. Because in Bucky's mind, he's like, I'm not worthy of that shield.
Yeah.
And
I'm
MCU
not a
Bucky is absolutely not worthy of that shield.
Yeah.
Worthy is, I guess, is a little.
But in terms of just
a word,
like, being a good man, if a good man is what
right.
makes a good Captain America, Bucky like honestly looks at himself and is like, I am not a good man.
He's got so much internal trauma that like he can't consider himself worthy, which, I mean, you kill a bunch of people, you're probably going to have some internal conflict. That's just kind of how life works.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like there's still a lot of people who out there who would have liked to see Bucky as Captain America. MCU, it just doesn't make sense. Like
MCU, it wasn't the right direction for it. Like,
yeah, he's just not the guy.
You know, it's like it's definitely not the right thing to do it, and I think his characters went so far off in its own direction. Like it wouldn't make sense.
Sam is such. I think you guys brought it up, Isaac. Maybe that you guys said Sam is like such the purest character in the MCU right now. Absolutely deserves it. Yeah. Absolutely embodies what the values and what Captain America is supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to see him in the future. Like I want to see. I'm really pumped up for Captain America 4. And,
absolutely.
See him headlining that role.
Yeah,
is going to be very interesting.
And the fact that Bucky doesn't kill Zemo also leaves Zemo open for future MCU projects, which I'm like 100% sure he's going to be coming back in some capacity.
We're getting like a Thunderbolts movie or a Thunderbolts show at some point.
Well, and the fact that they do not take him to Wakanda.
They took him to the raft.
That's like confirmation that he's got some role moving forward to me. Because if they take him to Wakanda, there's no way he's getting out of Wakanda. Like, he's there until somebody releases him from Wakanda.
So
it was actually the raft. A lot of stuff can go down, and he can get out of the raft. That's no problem.
Yeah.
I know it was such a minor thing, but it was actually really cool getting to see the raft again. You know, just for them just to bring that back.
I was shocked when they even mentioned it.
Check that out. Like,
I was shocked when they even mentioned it when they said we're taking him to the raft. Part of me was kind of like, why? Why wouldn't you just take him to Wakanda?
Something's going down there, man. Thunderbolts are starting.
I love Locksteady saying like, Baron Zemo got out of there, but not Batroc. R.I.P. Batroc.
Also, I was super pumped to see Zemo with the. Going back to we're talking about comic accurate outfits and stuff, threw the mask on. That was actually pretty cool.
That was so cool.
Yeah,
I almost like, and Locke mentioned this earlier in chat here. The antagonists sucked in this because the antagonists were the world, like as it were, like the world is against all of the changes that are happening and. It fit the show. It did fit the show. I will say that. But the characters themselves suffered for it, as in Sharon Carter and I forget her name. The leader of the Flag Smashers.
Carly
Morgan.
Yeah, Carly. Yeah.
Like I think Sharon Carter, we'll talk about in a bit. There's a reason for that. Carly Morgenthau could have been explored more and made better in the show. I think that for sure. Like she had the MO. She just needed more character development, a little bit more build up to make her more of a threat.
They started off so well with her as well. That's the thing.
Yeah. Right. They did really start off well with her, and then they just she plateaued and she just kept the same throughout.
She became
the
a very generic like terrorist sort of villain by the end, and I'm like, but you started off so well and we're leading to something so good.
Yeah. Right. So her character could have been better for sure.
Yeah, her character really. I mean, I did like how they added a little bit. I mean, just a tiny bit of something with her, but still, it just wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't anything like. It wasn't like an Agatha Harkness kind of like, ooh, okay, this is a fun, this is like, all right, this is lame. Their story, the whole Flag Smashers story was just to propel the rest of the story. I mean, that's what it was. It wasn't anything
a plot device, really.
Yeah.
It became very generic very quickly, I felt.
Which is, once again, I would have rather seen Zemo as the main villain of this, because he at least is an interesting character.
Right. And I like initially, end of episode 5, when Bucky spares Zemo, I was like, oh, he's going to the raft. He's the power broker. Like, I thought he was going to come back in episode 6 as the power broker, which would have been a cool reveal. There's a lot of problems in that plot. But the reveal as Sharon as the power broker was just like, eh.
Part of me was also kind of like, yeah, I kind of seen it coming. Like, people started talking about it, and
that reveal was the same level for me as Ralph Boner. That's all I'm saying. It was the same level. Like,
wow,
come
yeah.
on. Like, so when I first watched WandaVision, okay, this is spoilers for WandaVision, but when I first watched it, I was, and they brought Evan Peters in. I'm like, there's no way. I mean, it would be great. I want him to be from the X-Men, that's X-Men universe, Pietro. But I just don't think it will be. I don't think Marvel's going to do that. And sure enough, they didn't. And I was like, so they did it very like, we're not going to make this like super crazy. We're just going to surface level stuff, I guess you would say. And so I kind of figured that she was going to be the power broker. I think at some point we all kind of were like, all right, they're going to do that. But we wanted it. We all hoped
couldn't have been anybody else. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But
okay. Two things though. Ralph Boner, Locke mentioned in chat. I still have hope they'll course correct that. Infinity Bro Mark, one of my co-hosts, has a theory that he still will be Quicksilver down the line in the MCU. So let's hold on to that hope, because otherwise that was probably one of the worst reveals in MCU.
Yeah. Are you guys starting like some sort of conspiracy theory channel? Is that for like comic book movies?
Basically, that's what we've become, honestly, at this point. We're the MCU conspiracy theory podcast. Number 2, Sharon Carter is a Skrull.
Yep.
Like,
I heard about that one, yeah.
If she's not a Skrull, this is the worst character flip in the MCU, because she is very anti-Hydra, like, she's a great moral character early in the MCU. And now she's completely flipped. Like, if she's not a Skrull, that is also going to go down as a terrible reveal in my book. I don't know how else you can spin it, honestly. I could
kind of see them doing that. I mean, I could kind of see Marvel doing that, and they could say, and not that I'm agreeing with this, but they could easily say, well, she is not, she flipped the script because the government completely, no pardon, and she was kind of banished, and so she's angry about that, which once again, that's kind of like a really lame reason for that. But
can I just say as well, okay, so the government turned against her. Okay, this is me about to go off a little bit here.
Here we go.
So she's a former agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Right, that often gets like completely blanked over. No, she was in Winter Soldier. She was working for S.H.I.E.L.D. when it collapsed. And last time we seen her...
Sorry to interrupt you, but she like actively... She's like the first person to stand up against Hydra.
Yeah, she stood up in that room.
Breaks up. Sorry, no, keep going. But anyways, she's very She's very on the good side.
But you're telling me this former agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., who, as you said, stood up against Hydra straight on, last time we seen her in the MCU was helping Steve Rogers, who was with Bucky and Sam as well, but helping Steve Rogers in Civil War when he was actively going against us. So actively going against governments to do the right thing. You're telling me Nick Fury, who at the end of WandaVision we got heavily hinted at is in space, working for S.W.O.R.D. now, that's the new big organisation, because obviously the Skrull came in and said that he wouldn't have snapped up Sharon Carter.
Yeah.
An agent who's working so closely with people like Captain America, people that Nick Fury holds in such high regard, that he wouldn't have snapped her up and said, hey, come and work for me. Away from the governments, away from this stuff, like, the US government won't let you work for them. Come work for me. You're telling me he seriously wouldn't snag her for that? Someone who's proven herself time and time again to be trustworthy? No, she's a power broker. And people like, and the unfortunate thing I have to say is like, I kind of don't want her to be a Skrull, because I feel like that makes as little sense. Oh, she's a Skrull, and I'm like, so we made Sharon Carter a Skrull, and the best thing we got her to do is become the leader of Madripoor. Like,
the reveal still isn't great.
You know what I mean? It's
she straight up just shoots 2 people and it's like, whatever.
Yeah, she straight up kills Batroc, kills Carly, kills, like, shoots these people, like, it's so out of character, and I'm like, okay, you have to give me something that pushed her over that edge. Something, not just a case of like, oh, the government turned on me, so I came to Madripoor and did the whole villain thing. Like, again, it became very generic. Like, even the stuff with like I said with Carly, Carly became such a generic villain for this. We got the such generic story of her and Sam talking to each other, and Sam trying to convince her you're doing the right thing, just doing it the wrong way. All that stuff, and like, oh, you betrayed me, you brought them here. I'm going to go in this and go off the deep end. And like, that's such a generic villain thing that every show has done. And you're just going to flip the script on her now becoming the head of Madripoor, Sharon taking that role because the government turned on her, and screw them, I want power. With no build up to it. I'm like, come on, Marvel, you're better than that. That was two very generic things. And that's one of the reasons I say, first of all, WandaVision is a better show, because it very much stuck to the path of this is a story we're telling. But also why Falcon and Winter Soldier was more of a setup to move pieces to where we want them to be for going forward. Because that stuff was very much a case of, like, how does the power broker makes no sense, but at the same time, none of the other things it could be make any more sense. It's all such a generic move because, oh, we need her to be a villain for this and working for the government, because we can't have someone in the government without there being a secret spy doing their own thing. For someone.
And I think that, like, I'm sad that they didn't utilize Zemo. For what Zemo was, he was amazing in the show.
He was built up as the big bad, and he was barely in it.
Exactly. Like, I wanted him to be the big bad because I think he's an underrated MCU villain, and obviously he's got a part to play later down the line. But, man, how cool would it have been if he was revealed as the power broker and was manipulating everything from the beginning? Like, sure, predictable.
I want it to be a case of, like, my goal for the end of that would have been to see him on the way to the raft, and kind of like we see how he takes out the Flag Smashers. Like, you know, Carly's dead, the rest of them are all getting in jail, then we see Zemo listening that he's obviously set up to kill all these super soldiers because he hates superpowered people. But I'd love it to be a case of kind of similar to that, like him never having made it to the raft. And when he hears that news, like the reveal of him, like full Baron outfit still on, the mask back on, like sitting in some sort of throne in Madripoor. Of like, this is my kingdom. Like, this is like, he's not just a power broker running a business. Like, no, this is my kingdom, and I've basically run the world from this island. I control all these things, and I'm like, that's your build up there. And then if you want him snagged after that and do a Thunderbolts thing, do it. Like, I honestly believe, like, we're getting a Thunderbolt show. That's 100% where they're going. I can't imagine where they're taking him if not that direction. But I wanted to see so much more of him. He done amazing in this show. Like, he's phenomenal.
He did an amazing job with what he had, sure.
It was great to get the background on Zemo. It was great to actually see him in. But I feel like the way they utilized him, if they would have just taken him out of the show, nothing really would have changed, to be honest with you.
Not desperately, no. Not really. He didn't play a major factor.
He got maybe a little bit of information for Sam and Bucky, but that was about it. I mean, he didn't really, he didn't really play like this major, and he shot the scientists, like, whatever. They could have literally taken him out, and then it wouldn't have changed anything significantly. That's how I feel about it. But I'm really hoping, and I agree with you guys. I think we are going to see. I think we're definitely going to see Sharon again. This isn't the last time
there's no way we'll know.
This isn't the last time we're seeing Zemo. We're going to see these characters again, but what's going to be the capacity? Because I hope they just don't. I hope it's better than what we've gotten so far.
Yeah, like that's just.
I want to see more to them.
Yeah, that's why I say this is clearly a setup show, because like everyone we're clearly seeing again, everyone that was set up into place for. There's something more to come. There's something more going to take place. There's something about to happen. But yeah, I wanted to see more of Zemo. Sharon's twist didn't make much sense. Don't get me wrong, I love seeing Emily Van Camp back in the role of Sharon Carter. I love her. I think she's a great actress. I think she's great in the role. I'm hoping for something big down the line that's going to make that make sense, because right now for me it doesn't. Let me just quickly wrap up about Bucky, because we kind of started on him and then went into some tangents just for his story, and then after that I want to hit on talking about the other Captain America in this show, the journey of John Walker, which was a very interesting journey. But I loved, kind of as we talked about, I love seeing Bucky. I love seeing his journey to becoming Bucky again and dropping the Winter Soldier, kind of like we said, like losing the book at the end and stuff and giving it back and deciding to make amends. I loved seeing him throughout the show as well, and just seeing him lighten up, seeing him having this very dark cloud on himself, and we've seen him and Sam. Like I do have to say, like I did not like their relationship for the first couple of episodes. It felt very forced. Like even them making jokes at each other and picking fights with each other and that stuff. It felt so freaking forced. And I'm like, oh, please don't be like this for the whole show. And then they finally calmed down. They finally settled. And I'm like, okay, this is a good back and forth relationship now. I loved seeing Bucky becoming almost part of Sam's family. Do you know what it made me very much think of? Like, see, when we seen him going and working on the boat with them and all that stuff, it made me, flashback here for years ago. It made me think of Lethal Weapon. How a little bit like how Riggs just kind of becomes part of Murtaugh's family. He just kind of shows up and becomes like an uncle to them, and he's just there all the time, and that's like his house and his family almost now. It kind of felt like
the kids hanging off of his arm.
I love that he's just talking, the arms out straight.
Awesome. Yeah. He brings like a little dessert to the.
Yeah, I love that. I even love just when he first shows up, like when he's there, and like Sam calls in all the favors for all the neighbors to come and help, and they're like, it's going to take like so many of us to get this off the back of the truck, and the thing just lifts up, and you notice Bucky like right away.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And just the interaction, and then of course we got the flirting between him and his sister. Hi, I'm Bucky. And just a look from Sam, like, oh hell no.
That was so good.
But like that, seeing that relationship get to that was so fun. And then kind of like you said, just at the very end when it was all wrapped up, seeing him coming and celebrating with them and bringing dessert and playing with the kids and all that sort of stuff, it was so fun. Like I love that relationship, and that's why I do hope he does show up at least partially in Captain America 4, because I want to see that friendship continue. I want to see that partnership.
Like I said, if they do this Wakanda, if they move forward, I don't know if they've greenlit it or not, but I know that Ryan Coogler was scheduled to work on it. If they do this Wakanda show, I would love to see him. And that's where, if he is brought onto like a Wakanda show, that's where we can actually see him become the White Wolf.
Yeah.
And we get that, that little seed that was planted back a long time ago. We can actually see that happen in a Wakanda show. I think that would just be awesome. Or even in Black Panther, in the new Black Panther movie, that would be great as well. But I'd love to see him in another show.
Yeah, I want to see more of it. I need to see more of Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, he's great.
His story's only just started, and he was perfect casting for it. Kind of like Locke said earlier. Like I remember first seeing Sebastian Stan in freaking Once Upon a Time. Was like the first time I seen him. He was in like season 1 of that as the Mad Hatter. And like he's just so good in that role, so good as that character, and to find out he got cast in the MCU and has just ran with this role, it's amazing, and he deserves whatever they give to him. And I'm like, I'm all for more Bucky, and I want to see his journey now that he's finally fully free of the Winter Soldier like programming, and just see where they take him. And let's get away from the super soldiers, let's get away from all of that stuff. I want to see him just taking on his role and finding who he is now. I'm all for that.
Absolutely.
All right, you all ready then?
Let's go.
Mr. Walker, the Carol from Up in a Captain America helmet.
Number 1, punchable.
Yes.
Right 100%. From the get-go, the very end of that first episode.
Literally, the first episode, he turned around and I was ready to sock him one immediately.
Never has a character been more hated by just showing up.
So many memes. It was so great. I loved how they compared him to the old man from Up. That was
Carol from Up with the Captain America helmet, and it fits. It looks just like him. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to be able to unsee that ever again. But let's say that. Like my first intro to Wyatt Russell was Black Mirror, and this was a super weird change. Like Wyatt Russell, by the way, shout out Kurt Russell's son. We're coming in.
Crazy. I didn't even know he had a son before this show, so didn't even know existed.
Which is actually really cool, since we have already seen Kurt Russell in the MCU as Ego.
I was going to say that there's like 2 generations of the Russells in the MCU. Like, that's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool. Honestly, like, props to Wyatt, because like he played this character exactly how it should have been played. Like,
I feel so sorry for
sending him hate mail and death threats because he played this character so perfectly. Like, it's just incredible. Like,
he was
did
so
such a great job.
hated. He was a perfect villain. He's one of these ones, he played the part so well that people couldn't differentiate between him, like Wyatt Russell, and him, John Walker. Like, it was the same guy. People just wanted to smash this guy's face in so badly, which is kind of ironic because that's what he does to someone else.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
I mean, you know, starting out, he took on this role, and it was actually really cool because, like I said, I was on the Geek Nation podcast, and we were actually talking about this as well. And a shout out to those guys, and they were actually talking, and Matt brought up a good point, how, you know, they should have made Lamar as Captain America. He would have been a better fit for that role because he was more level-headed. There was plenty of times when, you know, he was ready to go in, that one particular scene where he was ready to rush in the room, and Sam was already in there talking to Carly, and they were like, no, just give him a minute. Lamar's like, come on, let's just give him a moment. Like, let him see if he could do it. You know, he would have played that role, but because of, you know, that's, I think, a little bit of like the race stuff comes in there as well. Right. That it was like, America's not ready for that. They need another, you know, blonde hair, blue eyes looking guy.
Yeah. They need someone to look at and go
role.
that's the Steve Rogers replacement. Look, he looks just like him. You know, sort of thing.
Exactly.
But
and actually how they, like, sorry to interrupt, but they go through the backstory, and honestly, you don't know if he's a bad guy because they introduce him pretty well, and like he seems like a good guy in that episode too. When they're doing the intros, he seems like
he seems cool. Like, for that whole episode, he seems pretty. Yeah, he could be okay.
Right. And honestly, the development of John Walker in the show is one of the highlights of the show for me. Like, they did a great job of kind of keeping you guessing in a otherwise predictable show with John Walker. Like, this show, I mean, before we knew anything about Falcon and Winter Soldier, what did we know? We knew that it was going to be Sam and Bucky teaming up together to beat the bad guy, and eventually Sam was going to be Captain America at the end of the show. I think everybody kind of generally knew that, right? And how it played out was pretty much how everybody expected. Even the Power Broker reveal was like pretty much predictable. Like, everybody kind of predicted that. The last episode where John Walker saves the van of people instead of going after Carly was the biggest like turn or wrench in this show. Like, it was the biggest surprise to me. I was like, I fully expected him to go after Carly 100%, and it kind of keeps you guessing as to what his future is in the MCU. Like, he's still got a part to play, and it's going to be a very interesting part because we don't know where he's going at this point. So props to Marvel for putting this storyline in there, because that was awesome, and US Agent's going to be a cool character later down the road.
I honestly didn't. That's where one of my expectations were, that I wouldn't say Marvel failed on me there. I thought it was just different, and I thought it was interesting. When I was watching him and I heard that he was going to be in the show, you know, we figured US Agent, okay, whatever. In my mind, I was like, I thought that fight that they had, I thought that was going to be like an end game kind of thing. That was going to be the end of the show. It was going to be, they were going to take him down. That was the end of it. And then towards the end of it, they were like, cool. Like, I was like, oh, I didn't expect, you know, Bucky and John are like, they're cool. You know, they're like, you know, making the joke about the app. You know, it's a pretty good app.
Like, I even posted on our Discord.
Didn't expect that.
You know, I even posted on our Discord like a bit of fan art that somebody had shared. Going into that last episode, and it's like Sam Wilson, Captain America fighting US Agent. And is this it? Are we going to get this fight? And nope. Not even a little bit. Nope.
Yeah, that was like crazy. And Locke just mentioned it, or was it Locke? Yeah, it was Locke that just mentioned it in chat. Like, the way that Sam and Bucky kind of just not forgive him, but they just like forget the stuff that he's done and just team up with him to you know, at the end of that episode is a little sus, but at the same time, like, this is a life or death situation for a lot of people. So it's like, okay, we could stand here and fight John Walker and a lot of people could die, or we could team up with him and potentially save some people. So it's kind of like, okay, it makes sense, but they were very they were very apt to team up with him and just cool with it, like you said, which is interesting.
I didn't expect it,
but
I did not expect that at all, and it was just like, all right, and you see him from the beginning, and I think his character had good motive, good intentions. Yeah, he definitely had good intentions.
Right.
He was like, we just need to stop these guys. Now, the way he went about it in his head made him not worthy of the Captain America role, because he was going at it like aggressive. I had guns blazing, shooting at Carly, in that big room, and he just, I don't know. He's a really interesting character. I don't think he definitely didn't deserve the death threats that Wyatt Russell definitely. He's just a character. Oh, come on. And I think he did the job really well. I think he played his role really well, not only as his character, but just as him in the show. And I want to see more of U.S. Agent. I want to see him come back. Like you said, I think he will come back. I think it will be really interesting. I did think it was super, super funny, though, how, we got this mid-credit scene where he's making the shield or whatever, and literally, like, 5 seconds
the
shield.
Oh, my gosh.
It's destroyed, and it's like, oh, well, there goes all that work.
Yep,
but,
that's pretty great,
actually. We actually have another Infinity Bro in chat right now, Max, saying Marvel has been building up so much up in their 2 shows. They need to learn how to land their endings a little better. I love the finale, but it didn't wrap up their Power Broker or Flag Smashers at all. We've talked about Power Broker. We'll get to the Flag Smashers in a minute because it's not going to take long. But but yeah, with John Walker, his character, I loved the descent into madness.
Yeah,
like as the episodes went on, you could just see him losing it more and more.
Was it episode 4? He had the shield. He was raising it above that guy.
Yeah, it was 4 because
my jaw dropped. My jaw absolutely to the floor dropped. I was like, "Holy crap!" Everyone had their phones out.
I knew it was coming. See, the moment Lamar died, it was like, "Yeah, he's dead."
Dropping moment in the show was when he kills a guy with the Captain America shield.
If you get a chance,
image of him holding the shield with the blood dripping off of it is probably one of the most haunting images in the MCU to date. Like absolutely. It is just chilling. You look at that image, you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. That was maybe the biggest cliffhanger from any of these. And WandaVision did, that was kind of their thing, was cliffhangers, but like this was the biggest cliffhanger in Falcon and Winter Soldier by far, not even close. Absolutely. And probably up there with the WandaVision ones as well. But that was amazing and terrible all at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. The moment Lamar gets killed, it's like, okay, someone's dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to kill somebody because, like, that... And that shot as well that kills him. Like, after the whole Cam talking that Sam tries to do, they come barging in, they get in a fight with the super soldiers, and he just gets punched across the room through a pillar. And it's like, oh. And, like, you feel it when he hits. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's dead. It's like, he's not getting up from that. And... And you literally, like, we've been seeing John's, like, descent into madness up to this point, and then at that moment, it's just, snap, he's gone. And, like, he just takes off through the window, hunts that guy down. Like, I'm surprised that guy didn't die before he got his head smashed in. Just, like, even, like, when John catches up to him, and, like, that punch, and, like, hitting the shield off him and launching him into those stairs, and I'm like, how's his back not broken? How is he still talking? Like, this... And then he picks up the shield and just wrecks him with it.
The second that he lifts up the shield, I'm thinking, this guy is getting decapitated. Like, his head is going to roll down the stairs right now. It's Disney Plus show. So I think if this was on, like, Hulu or something, that might have happened. But my jaw was wide open during that whole scene. I was like,
100%, what? Yeah. Like, he lifted that shield, and it's like... If you've not seen, like, I've watched, like, compilations on YouTube, there's compilations of reactors, like, reacting to the shield getting lifted and slammed. If you've not seen it, watch it, because it never gets old seeing someone's face of, like, no, boom, and it hits. And I think what makes it worse is because you do think that, you think, hit, and he's going to, like, the head's gone. He's decapitated. And then, boom, boom, and, like...
just keeps going.
It's like, he was dead in the first shot. Please stop. He's clearly dead.
Yeah. And then we see the blood just kind of on the shield.
That shot like, from the bottom with him in a very kind of almost like not stoic, but very Captain America-esque pose, standing there with his shield in his arm and the blood down it. It's like,
and after that all happens, he's standing there, and you can just tell he's like twitching, just like. That moment was just wow. That was one of the most powerful. I mean, up until that point, it was the most powerful moment in this show for sure.
Yeah,
like no question. Debatable that it could be one of the most powerful moments like in the entire show, because that was just like wow, jaw dropping, like you said.
Yeah, that was the moment. That was the moment that defined this show. Was like, okay, yeah, the show's definitely up there. Between that shot and then like the shot of Sam in the finale in the Captain America costume, like it's like those are some of the standout moments.
Can we talk about when he walks out with the suit, with his new suit?
Oh yeah, with the US agent and the.
What did you guys think about that?
Yeah, again, I've got to give props to them. It's very comic accurate. It definitely looks
suit
like
itself. I like the suit, but like the moment was anticlimactic. Unfortunately, like
the moment was anticlimactic because, like, am I meant to be happy? Am I meant to be sad? Like, you're trying to play this as if I'm meant to like this guy, and I'm like, I clearly don't. He's because, like, in case anyone didn't realize, the woman who the Countess or whatever the heck she was getting called, like, she's a comic character. She's Madam Hydra. It's like she's a full-blown villain in Hydra.
Yeah.
Like, so they're clearly setting up a Dark Avengers, like a villain team of Avenger-esque characters. They're clearly going for that. And I'm like, this character's Madam Hydra, but you've got him coming out in his new suit as if this is like, oh, this is a great big step for him and we should be really excited for him. And I'm like, you can't play that moment like that. You can't play that moment like that. He's a villain.
Like, if you had kept all the same dialogue, all the same acting, you could have put 30 more seconds on building up the reveal of the suit, because he just
walks out.
You don't even see the whole suit. Like, you see like the top half, and then you see a back shot of the whole suit, and it's like, I didn't even like see it. Come on, like, I want to see the suit. This is what I'm here for.
I would be more impressed if they would have just done away with that scene completely, or they would have done a scene where maybe she calls him or they meet or something, and she goes, I have big plans for you, and then the next time we see him, he steps out with the suit. That would have been, I think, more powerful in that, and it would have been like, oh, look, here he is now.
Yeah, that
kind of like
100%
throwaway.
100%. That should have been the reveal. Like, should have been next time we seen him should have been his US agent. We shouldn't have seen the suit in this one, or if we did, like, build up to it, make it like do those like shots of like the suit up shots you see that are like close up.
Like I said, you could have kept the same dialogue. He could have said, it's the same suit but black and red, after a big build up reveal, because that would have been funny. But they didn't even build it up. It was just like, okay,
it's the same. It's the same suit, and I'm like, well, you're not that excited about it. Why the heck should we be excited about it?
It's the same shirt, just with Infinity Bros on it.
Like, which I love the fact that was Wyatt Russell's actual reaction to when he saw the suit. If you read interviews, like, that was literally his actual real life reaction of like, it's the same suit. Okay. I was like, it's the same suit. He was expecting something like maybe more epic. Like, it's a great suit, but like, it's exactly the same as the blue one.
That is exactly what I was talking about earlier when I said Marvel what they try to do is they try to insert weird, awkward comedy into scenes that don't need weird, awkward comedy.
Yeah,
and they tend to do, ever since Guardians, they've done that, and it's not organic. It's like weird.
Yeah,
and I don't care for it, and I really hope they don't do that with. If they're gonna do any kind of comedy with Loki, I hope it's just super organic, and that's the tone of the show. If the tone of the show is gonna be funny, then make it funny, but don't insert like weird stuff like that.
Yeah, Loki's got some great comedy. Weird. Let's see him do the comedy that we've seen him do so far. It's like it would definitely work.
I think, I mean, it just based on the character of Loki, I mean, it has to be a comedic show. Otherwise, I don't know if it'll land quite as well, as because that's what people love Tom Hiddleston's Loki for, is his kind of wit and his like charm, I guess, as Loki. And I mean, it's gotta be a little bit comedic at least to fit that, I think. So I think we're gonna definitely see that for sure.
Absolutely. So to kind of move into the last couple of points then, thoughts on the Flag Smashers?
They were not boring villains.
They were
like I
there.
Said before, they were just a.
They were there.
They were a lame plot device.
Yeah,
and
they were
it
a
was
plot
like
device.
Carly, like we were saying previously, she had a little bit of character to her, but not much. And they were like, we just need to choose someone, so let's just pick her and let's just make these the villains, and it's just.
Yeah, like it was
special. Like, all right,
like they got revealed like in the first episode, and it wasn't like 2 episodes later we actually learned who the leader was. And I'm like, even you don't care about them enough to tell us which one's in charge.
Exactly.
And it's like it's not like we didn't see her. Like we saw her.
Plot. If you had just built up even Carly, that would have helped the group. But also, we have no idea what their plan is until like episode 5.
Yeah, like episode 4 and 5.
Clue what they're doing. They're
episode
just
4
like
and 5. It's like this is what
like,
we're going to do. And
now, once again, going back to if they made Zemo the bad guy, okay, and if they would have made these super soldiers kind of like I don't want to say Winter Soldiers, but they had, we had our
serum.
They had the serum. So they're working for Zemo, even though I know he hates powered people, but then he kills them all at the end.
But yeah, do that like what he did with Winter Soldier. Like he tried to set up Winter Soldier, use these as like, oh, you're my hired guns that I'm just going to destroy at the end of it. Just to get the job done.
Made Zemo the big bad, and then done all that. Then we would have kind of gotten more of that, I think more Bucky there, because Bucky knows what they have gone through with the whole him being the Winter Soldier, being Zemo's little minion for so long. They could have done it so much better, and it kind of makes me upset that they chose to make it a weird, boring plot device that didn't really do anything special.
Sorry, I'm also kind of cracking up at chat here. It's like Locke saying that they sure were a group. Chunks like they sure did stuff.
They sure did stuff.
Right, I mean, things absolutely transpired, no doubt about it.
Why are they, like RKO just said that, why are these adults following a girl that looks like she's 15 at most?
Yes. She looks really young. Like, she looks like she should be in one of the youth groups I worked in. Like, seriously, she looks so freaking young.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like...
And, like, again, I think the actress... who I don't know the name of at this time, she did as best as she could. Like I felt like she did a great job with what they gave her, but they just didn't. They didn't give the character much in terms of like development or anything really. They just like she did what she could, and I don't fault her for that. It was definitely script writing and just the plot that they were going with. Unfortunately,
yeah. It's like she did the best she could with the role, but the role they didn't really give her much. Maya Rudolph.
No, that's not. That is definitely not Maya Rudolph.
She kind of looks like her, but
yeah,
a little bit. Chunks should have been in the Girl Scouts or something. But yeah, the Flag Smasher for a means to an end. I mean, they wasted a whole plot with them. They wasted the whole thing of like, oh, we're going to make them super soldiers, but then we're going to kill the guy that managed to make the super soldier serum, destroy it all except for the one that Walker got. And then we're going to kill off all of them. And it's like, really, this whole plot device was basically to make John Walker a freaking super soldier. Like, that literally was the only reason for any of that stuff. And
Locke
at the end, they're all dead.
Aaron Kellyman, I think is the actress's name. Kelman, something like that.
You can say the same word over and over again, Caleb. It doesn't.
I was trying.
Kellerman. That's the same word. You're just
I was trying to say something different, and nothing else came out. So I'm just gonna assume that's right. So.
But yeah, like the Flag Smashers were a waste of time in this show. It's like I think they could have been something interesting. The idea was definitely interesting behind it. The best thing that came out of it, honestly, was. Looks steady. Is that a jackal? Looks like a jackal. Jackal. But yeah, like they could have done something awesome with them. They could have done something awesome with that story. The best thing we got out of them was the fact that we got Sam's speech at the end when he was Captain America, and like that these people needed help. They didn't need to be turned into terrorists. They needed help. But yeah, there's nothing much more to say on them. They were pretty pointless. One last thing I do want to mention, and we didn't mention it earlier when we first talked about it, and I want to put it in here at the end at least, because it was probably the most heartfelt moment in the entire thing, and I definitely cried during it. Was we spoke about Isaiah Bradley earlier, and the final moments when the new Captain America takes him to the Captain America Museum.
Yeah,
and amazing. Shows that Isaiah Bradley has a statue that's been added of him to the Captain America Museum, so that he is not forgotten. What he did for that country is not forgotten. What he went through is not forgotten. And I was tearing up at that point. That was just such an amazingly powerful moment, and a really great, along with the speech that he gave, a really great defining moment for Sam's Captain America. To define him as he's definitely Captain America, but also define him as he's not Steve Rogers.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Cross, is that, like, I mean, we already got confirmation that he is Captain America with that speech, but this was a further definition of his character as Captain America and as Sam Wilson, honestly, because he is Captain America. But, like, this moment was the most heartfelt epilogue in maybe Marvel history. I don't know. It's probably up there for sure. Like, this was an amazing moment, and I don't know, the way that they interwove like all of the race discussion in this show, I thought was incredible. Like, I thought they did a really great job with pretty much all of it. So amazing moment for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. And one last shout out thing I was going to do, because I meant to mention it earlier as well when we were talking. We already talked about like Torres and him getting set up as the next Falcon. We already talked about the Countess as Madam Hydra. Another comic book character reveal that not everybody grabbed right away was the kid that was with Isaiah Bradley. It's actually a character from the comics as well, and actually becomes Patriot, one of the Young Avengers. I have been calling it for about 2 years now that we were going to get a Young Avengers thing. I have been saying it constantly, and everything is lining up that if we don't get a Young Avengers, like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, we've got Speed, we've got Wiccan, we've got Hawkeye, and now we've got Patriot. Like, Speed, it's Wiccan, coming, and Miss Marvel is coming. Like,
Patriot, it's all. But Miss Marvel. America Chavez has been announced for an upcoming movie.
True, yeah. Doctor Strange too.
We've got Kang the Conqueror's coming in the next Ant-Man, who, if you know your Young Avengers stuff, the young Ant-Man the young Kang the Conqueror is Iron Lad, who is a member of the Young Avengers before he finds out he becomes Kang the Conqueror, which, spoilers, but the comic is like 20 years old. So
it's like 20 years.
You've also got Stature, Cassie Lang, Scott Lang's daughter. So, like, you've already got 8 potential members of the Young Avengers who have been Young Avengers at different times. Also, the potential of, now that the Skrulls are involved, we could see Hulkling come into it, which I've no doubt we will, because Wiccan and Hulkling are like the most famous gay couple in comics. They're not going to miss the opportunity to put them on the big screen. Like, there's no way a Young Avengers isn't happening. And, like, every time I see a character, I'm like, it's happening. You've just not announced it yet.
Now, let me ask you guys this: would you rather see a series, a television series about the Young Avengers, or would you want it as a movie?
If they can properly build it up, I'd rather see a movie with the amount of traction and the payoff that we got in Avengers Endgame. I would like to see the MCU build up to something again.
Yeah,
and that would be a really cool thing to build up to.
I would like to see a kind of crossover, to be completely honest. Like, I'd love to see, like, these characters, kind of like what we talked about with Bucky. Like, I'd love to see these characters show up in shows. Like, we've already got a Miss Marvel show. Like, if we see, like, Patriot show up during stuff like this, if we do another Captain America and Winter Soldier show, and see them showing up in different things. Cassie showing up in the Ant-Man movies, obviously. And then have it all kind of build, like, the shows, them all coming out of those, kind of like what we did with Avengers, where they all had their own movies and then came together, and have them all come as, like, side characters or their own stuff to come together as a Young Avengers movie,
right?
And come together with that. I'd love to see
that. If they can like properly build it up, like, even maybe a show inclusive of that, and ending with a movie, like a Young Avengers movie, or even just an Avengers movie or something like that. Like, that would be.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Well, that's it. Yeah, even have like a Young Avengers show, and then you can even do it as an Avengers movie and have a team up of like them and who the current Avengers are, like with Spider-Man and Black Panther or whoever the new one's going to be, and with Captain Marvel and all the characters that are stepping into those roles as Avengers, have them like cross over and actually work with them. That could be part of your next big fight then. So it's like, it's not quite an all-inclusive like Endgame style fight, but it's still like a bigger crossover than a regular Avengers team up.
Yeah. Yep. That would be awesome.
But yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything for Falcon and Winter Soldier, and nothing else is springing to mind for me. Anything else that you guys can think of, or any other thoughts you had, or?
I think overall, like I love this series. Yeah, it had some problems, but I don't think it detracted too much from my overall score. I would give it like on the Infinity Bros we do out of 6, so I'd give it like a 5.5 out of 6. Pretty dang good. I believe that's the same score I gave WandaVision as well. Like close to perfect, but just a couple little nitpicky things that I would like to have seen different. But I mean, great shows, amazing. Like Sam Wilson becoming Captain America is just incredible. Like that was what this show was about, and they did an amazing job with everything with Sam Wilson in this show. He was the focus. He played the part perfectly. Anthony Mackie did, and it paid off. Like him as Captain America is everything I've wanted in this show. So it was awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Same kind of thing here. I feel kind of the same way as you did. It's not perfect. It had its issues. I mean, for me, I honestly, just me personally, I like WandaVision better. I think I said that already, but I did like how we got to see all these little things that we've talked about previously. We got new characters. We've gotten build up for a bunch of characters that we've already seen. And I'm very interested to see what else what else is this going to spawn in the MCU? What are we going to get out of this? Yeah. Like Cross, like you were saying, this show feels like a building block. It feels like the first stone that's put in, and now we're going to see what gets built upon this going forward. So I think in that regards, I liked it. But yeah, I'm also interested just to see what else the MCU has. I mean, so far we've seen 2 shows already that have worked, So I want to know if they're going to keep doing this in the future. Now, we have a ton of shows already announced, but I really hope this is something that Marvel's committed to doing, because these shows are great. I'm enjoying them a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, I think I've knocked it out of the park. I think I would definitely say I'd maybe take off like half a point from what you were saying, Isaac, to it. I think, don't get me wrong, it's still a phenomenal show. I definitely preferred WandaVision. I think just the stuff that it gave us, I think it was definitely a better show with especially just the different tone to it than everything. But yeah, this was an amazing show. This was so well done, so well put together. Anthony Mackie killed it. I'm so hyped to see Captain America 4 now based on this, and to see what they do with him in that. I am so excited I want to see more Bucky Barnes. I want to see more of him in it. I'm excited to see what they do. I'm excited to see what they do with Zemo, if they do a Thunderbolts or where they go with that. So I'm definitely excited to see what they do going forward. The show itself was enjoyable, and I'm definitely in for more. And Marvel has done nothing but like hype me up for their upcoming shows. Like I'm all ready for more shows. I'm all ready for more of their stuff. Like I'm ready to see like Loki. I'm ready for Miss Marvel. I'm ready for She-Hulk. I'm ready for everything that's coming. I'm all in. It's been absolutely amazing. Same. But yeah, so I guess that's our wrap up. Final thoughts then there of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Thank you so much for coming and joining me today, guys, especially on short notice. With Nitro and myself completely forgot that he was out of town this week, because everything's been focused on our 12-hour stream, and it was like, oh yeah, I'm going out of town on May 2nd. I'm like, wait, that's a Sunday. I'm out of town this Sunday. Guys, can you come and help me with this? So thank you so much for coming in short notice. Thank you for popping in and helping us out with this. This is 100% not going to be the last time that we have either of you on the show.
Maybe the last time we have Caleb on, but I mean, now that it's the Comics and the Infinity Bros podcast, I mean, anything can happen. So.
Exactly.
No.
No. But let me give the opportunity then for you guys, and whichever one of you wants to go first, you can. Give yourselves a shout out, tell people who you are, anyone who in chat who may not know who the Infinity Bros or Mountain Nerds are. This is your chance.
You can go, Isaac.
Okay, all right, I'll go first. My name is Isaac.
Best for last.
Okay. My name is Isaac. I'm one of the Infinity Bros. We're a group of 6 guys who have a podcast, the Infinity Bros Podcast. We talk all things nerdy. It is the only podcast that's perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Mostly based on superhero stuff, as you can probably guess from the title. But we have a lot of cool things going on. We do a bunch of giveaways. One current one that we have going on right now is if you rate and review our podcasts on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, you'll be entered in to win a actual Infinity Gauntlet. Now, it is not the same Infinity Gauntlet that Thanos snapped away half the universe with, but it is a cool Infinity Gauntlet. It's valued at like $150. It's going to be signed by all the Infinity Bros. So make sure you guys go rate and review the Infinity Bros Podcast. You can check us out on theinfinitybros.com and any major podcast platform.
And with the Mountain Nerds, it's me and my wife. We started this podcast last year. We actually have another host that's with us. Our show, we do twice a month. We talk about really honestly random topics, ranging from we have a show coming up about theme parks to summer vacations. I mean, just random stuff. We talk about superheroes. We talk about books, and we usually bring on a guest on our show. So it's usually a really fun time. You could find us. We actually stream 3 days a week as well. We stream. Taylor, my wife, streams on Tuesdays. We try to do a co-op game or a board game on Fridays, and then I will stream on Sundays. Usually about 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are also doing a giveaway as well. Can you show that shirt there you got, Cross?
Yeah, maybe show off the shirt for you.
Show off the shirt right there. We are doing...
I'll show off mine too, just because you guys are showing off yours.
Because we're doing...
Shirt show off.
Shirt show off. We are doing a giveaway right now. If you follow us on Twitch and one of our social medias and let us know who your favorite hero is, you could win some of our merch. So that's what's going on with us.
Coming for that coffee mug.
Yeah.
Same.
And thank you, Isaac, for shouting me out on my own channel, which is completely pointless.
You shouted us out. I thought it was only prudent to shout you out as well.
And if you... Well, let me go for it then. And if you happen to wander in here and don't happen to know who we are, we, of course, are Comics in the Cross, the greatest streamers that you have never heard of. I'm one half of our two-man team, Cross. Our other half, Nitro, is away off on a lovely vacation with his wife for her birthday right now, so hope they're having lots of fun and not jealous in the least bit. But we, of course, are here, going to be up to 3 times a week now going forward, or at least in the next couple of months that'll be set up. We stream our podcast or some co-op games on Sundays at 2 o'clock. We also stream Monday evenings. I stream Monday Night Crossplay, where I play through storyline games. At the moment, we just started the Marvel's Avengers game, so we were going to be getting back into that. And then on every other Tuesday night, and soon to be every Tuesday night, Nitro is going to be doing a live art stream with us. So follow us on our social media to keep up to date with all that. Archeo in chat saying, "What's a shirt?" So keep up with us on our social medias to keep up to date with all this. What's a comic? Snail Spider. And also follow us on our Discord to keep the conversation going there. But yeah, so thank you so much to you guys showing up for it. Upcoming for us this week, as I already said, obviously tomorrow night at about 8 o'clock. Make sure you come back here and join us, as I will be jumping back into Avengers. Very excited. Locke, what's a Neo Spider? We're jumping back into Avengers. We only got to play 1 week of it before everything kind of went crazy for the 12-hour stream, so I'm super excited to get back into that. And then next Tuesday, next week on the 11th, Nitro is going to be coming in with his first ever Art of the Hero stream in its new regular spot. He has done it on Sundays occasionally, so you guys have seen him do art before, but this is going to be his new regular spot on Tuesday night, so make sure to come, show him some love and support, and definitely support him. Maybe I'll give away some free artwork, you never know. He's a really good artist, and it would definitely be worth getting a hold of.
That Spider-Man piece that he did for the 12-hour stream, I wanted it so bad. I might just actually pay him, commission him to do another one, because that one looked amazing.
It was so good.
Super excited about my commissioned piece.
Yeah,
So,
Caleb was actually the winner of the original commission piece where you got to ask
Memorabilia.
Nitro for whatever you wanted. And go ahead, tell the people, what did you ask for, Caleb?
Yeah, I asked him to make a Iron Man with his Mark IV armor in like the superhero landing,
Nice.
3-point landing. So
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how that comes out. It's gonna be great. I know it's
awesome.
Nitro doing it. It's gonna be great. For sure.
Yeah, it's going to turn out good. It is going to turn out so good. I'm honestly excited to see what he does with them. I'm excited. I think was it Chunk that won the other one. I'm excited to see what Chunk actually picks. I don't think he's actually chosen one yet. So I'm kind of excited to see what he goes for with his. But yeah, Nitro's art streams are worth catching. The dude is insanely talented. He is insanely talented.
I think Chunk said he was going to get a picture of you, Cross. That's what he wanted. He wanted Nitro to draw you with the hair.
Of course. I don't blame him. I mean, look at me. Of course he wants me.
Gonna hang it right in the living room.
Alright guys, but that is it for today. I'm just going to quickly have a look and see who we've got on to raid. We actually don't have that many people on right now. If anyone has got any suggestions or anyone sees anyone... he will give Hark the Ginger a follow. He's playing some Spider-Man right now. Try to look for something that's at least in our wheelhouse of usual stuff. Try to see if there's anyone playing some Apex as well. You go check out Boz from God's Code Church. Yeah, let's go read Pastor Boz. Let's go and give him some love. I think I should have crossed a Nitro as Idol from Killer Instinct.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
What is it, Chunk? You don't want a gorgeous picture of me hanging up in your house? I can't think why not. Why wouldn't you want that? That's
a big old 4x8. That's what he needs.
Yeah.
Full body.
Exactly. You know,
you're like Two-Face Batman. One side is Cross and one side is Nitro.
Oh, that's such a good shout, by the way. That's such an awesome shout.
Pretty sweet.
All right, guys.
Have Cross in the Jeff Goldblum shirt off.
Yes.
I can live pose for that if you want. You know, just get the shirt off. But alright guys, we are going to head over and raid Pastor Boz. He's playing some Hades right now. We're going to go show him some love. So please hang out in the raid. Please go and show him some love. Drop him a follow if you have not already. Of course, as we've done some shout outs for Infinity Bros and Mountaineers, go and check them out. Isaac and the Bros, the massive crew over there. Caleb and Taylor over at Mountaineers, good friends of ours. Go show them some love too. But thank you so much guys, and we are going to... just taking the opportunity, Isaac, just one last shout out. Oh dear. Alright, but you guys have an absolutely amazing day. Take care, and remember, as always, it's a good week to be a geek. See you all later, guys.
Bye.